there's always more Superman to talk about, but I think
Always.
today we're going to shift a little. Let me shift a little.
Just a skosh.
There we go. I have a hot take on how much I loved Fantastic Four. My buddy John, he got us into an advanced screening, so I did see this like 2 days before you did, and those 2 days I lorded it over you. I was walking around again. You don't even live here, but I was walking around the city just going, "Ha ha, Chad! I saw FF," which a lot of people were like, "We don't understand what that means," and who's Chad? And I said, "Suck it, Portland," which I say a lot.
It vexed me nonetheless.
It still vexed you. I'm sure
I
that,
didn't know
they
why. I
always
was like,
say that, oh, my
something's
ears are
vexing
burning.
me.
Someone must be talking
Yeah.
about me. In the case of you, I think it's the nape of your neck gets all like red and inflamed whenever I am talking shit about you
Yeah.
thousands of miles away.
You're all up in my nape.
You may have created a new slogan that should be on a t-shirt. You're all up in my nape. My hot take is this. I think I enjoyed FF more than Superman. Hold on. What I said to John was because I have a less complicated relationship with the FF.
Yeah.
I know it sounds weird. Superman means too much to me. So the whole time I was watching James Gunn's Superman, I'm worried. Literally scene to scene, even though I enjoyed it. The whole time I was sitting there going like, what can go wrong? Just because I'm anxious about it. And I have now seen it, still just the two. I haven't gone back for a third. I will. And I enjoyed it both times. But Superman means too much. So therefore it has a burden that the FF doesn't.
Yeah.
The FF for me, Fantastic Four, I love those characters, but they're not even my favorite Marvel characters. Cap. So yeah, Captain America's always been my favorite. Yeah, so I was able to just sit back and the whole thing felt effortlessly entertaining. Like it just scene to scene, I was delighted. And so I'm just like, it was more relaxing than Superman. And when it was over, I was like, you actually have some nitpicks, which are valid, but I didn't really. I'm not saying perfect superhero movie. It's just that for what it was trying to do, I thought it did it so well. The things they changed worked okay for me. I mean, definitely I want to get to your nitpicks, but I was like, there were things I had wanted that weren't there, but didn't impact how good it was. I was like, oh, so no Watcher at all. Okay. All right. So no, I understand the reason probably. They're like, that's just another cosmic character. It's too much.
I would have been really surprised if they found a way to work him in to the story.
Yeah, no ultimate nullifier, any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, cool. That's fine. There wasn't even a Norrin Rad when we flash back to Shalla-Bal.
No, and I have a thought about that too. I was thinking, is he there? Is he there? But I think there's a reason why they didn't show him this time.
Oh, do you think he even exists in that universe?
He might. I think possibly I'll just say it right now.
She seems to be a single mother.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think what they're doing, this is just my guess, that they didn't want to show him because they haven't cast him yet. That's my guess. They just don't want to. They don't want to make some kind of continuity error down the line like they have in the past.
John is of the opinion, and again, we're speculating. Oh, we should also say, hey guys, spoilers. We're gonna talk FF and our love for it, but we're gonna also spoil the movie. So stop listening.
Yeah,
or listen intently.
I don't think we're gonna bother with a non-spoiler part. I guess we just did. That was the non-spoiler preamble.
Oh, well, state for the record, how did you feel about the movie?
I did really like it. I saw it on a day where I was not in a really good mood. It was one of those experiences. So I didn't really realize it till I got out of the movie. It was like, it was one of those days my brain had all the stuff to process. And it was just, the more I sat there still, it was just kind of raining down on me.
Oh, man, so I don't like that.
That's why I resisted telling you my thoughts right off the bat. It was like, I need to sit and process this for a bit.
I gotcha.
And the more I look back on it, I was like, yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
And my nitpicks are minor. You know, we'll get into it.
None of yours were like crazy. You didn't kick the walls out of the theater, as far as I know. Again, I'm not in Houston, so you can. That can impact literally how your day is going. There have been amazing films that I was like, and then I realized, well, how could I have enjoyed it? When I wrote you and was like, they cracked the code. That's what I felt, is like the same thing with most of the MCU movies. Even when they change things, the changes keep the core consistent, keep the characters consistent, and the changes are smart. And I was surprised by a lot of things, including the fact that the ending did not link up with
I
where
know.
we know. It's like, oh wait, because the whole
Yeah.
movie I'm expecting, they did the psych out. They did the thing that you and a lot of other people were speculating about, which is they're going to move the Earth and it'll end up in the other dimension, and that's why the da da da. And they don't.
Hmm.
That is actually a plot point. I was like, here we go. This is how it happens.
Right.
Nope.
Well, I think he was
So there's
intending to move
still
it to a different solar system, but
a
yeah,
different
it could
solar
have
system.
it could
Yes.
have been like a oops, we're in another universe
Rather than
now.
another
Yeah.
dimension. Yep. So it's still wide open, though. Of course, we can now speculate that it's probably Doom stealing Franklin, and Franklin's godlike abilities kick him over to another universe, and then the FF have to go after save the boy.
Yeah.
I did not know Franklin was going to be that important, but then that one teaser trailer spoiled that for me, and I was like, God
Yeah.
damn it.
Yeah. It was kind of like the trailers for Superman eventually revealed that, oh, he's here to destroy us, that
Yes.
leak.
So, hey, guys making trailers,
Yeah,
pull back
knock
a
it
little bit.
off. I know.
Pull back a little bit. Okay, so that was my hot take, was that I liked it a little bit more, but let's talk more specifically, and yes, spoilers from this point on. What were your problems with Fantastic Four, Chad?
Well, there were initially I racked up three, and as I was writing that that long reply to you because I hadn't said anything about it for several days. Like,
I
what the
know you
hell?
were like, I'm seeing it this afternoon. I'm like, yeah, and I expected to come home from like my tours, and there'd be like, it was great. I was like, nothing. I'm gonna give him a day. Nothing. I'm gonna give him a day. Nothing. I was like, dude, did you like it or not?
Yeah, yeah. So when I started writing that, I was going to be short, and I was like, blah, 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 I had all the stuff I wanted to say. Uh, so the first one that is a very minor nitpick, but I think it's understandable, is that we didn't get a whole lot of Reed Richards stretchy time in this movie,
It,
and that was kind of
it's true.
interesting because in the first trailer there wasn't any, or the first
Yep.
teaser there wasn't any. In the trailer we got a little bit, then we got a little bit more in some of the other trailers, and it turns out that actually is reflective of the movie a bit. He uses his powers a lot, but it's very subtle,
Yes.
mostly, and there isn't really one big set piece where he stretches himself to the limit. There is that
No.
scene where Galactus pulls him from end to end.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but
Rubber
we don't get
banded
much.
him.
We don't get any of this. We don't get him
I
wrapping
know.
himself
I
around
know.
something a bunch of times and
I did
stretching
clock
his
that.
torso out like a sheet. That type of thing. So that was like, okay, that's a little disappointing. But it was kind of like similar with Superman. Like every character or every moment that I kind of wish we had more of in Superman, I was like, okay, well, this is just the beginning of the DCU. We're going to get
Sure.
so much more of these characters down the line. We're going to see tons of Reed and Doomsday and Secret Wars and all this stuff coming up. And I know there's going to be another Fantastic Four movie. Obviously, there's going to be a bunch of them. So we're going to get a lot of Reed. I think they're pacing themselves, basically. They don't want to blow their Reed wad in the first movie. It could
Ooh.
also be, but maybe they're still trying to work out the
No,
effects.
Chad, I can't let that go. You need to apologize. You need to
I'm
apologize to the
sorry.
audience. Don't ever say that phrase again. That is a crime against humanity. Jeez. Speaking of Reed wads, I had the same thought when I was watching it, and I don't talk a lot during movies because, again, I think that's horrible. But occasionally, if there's someone there and I will whisper a thing, And so at one point, towards the end of the movie, I was like going, dude, he's not going to roll up into a big ball, is he? And at the end, I was like, I really enjoyed it. But yeah, Reed never did turn into a giant sheet with a head on it. He never rolled. I thought at one point he was going to protect like the baby carrier with Franklin. I thought he was going to like roll up into a big ball around it. He didn't. And here's the thing, your thinking is probably partly correct, but I think it is still just not pacing themselves, but effects wise,
Effects wise, yeah.
I think this movie is great, but you can see it's budget. Not saying that this was a cheap movie at all. I think there are a lot of things in there where I'm going, I think they still brought this in much cheaper than it could have been. And that's not an insult. I think it looks great, but the practical thing suit works in a lot, and it also occasionally doesn't so well. There are a few
Mm-hmm.
effect shots that are still a little bit like, but
Yeah.
none of this is, I mean, it looks great, is what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
There
But
was
I
a
can
couple
tell
things.
they had to pull back.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think stretching is probably still, that's
That's
the hardest thing for them to do.
yeah. Without it
And make
looking
it
like
look
overly
good or
cartoony.
believable and not, yeah, cartoony.
Yeah. So yeah, I did notice that really the only couple things I noticed with the effects were Ben's mouth moving looked a little like that didn't look like how it would move or didn't seem natural. And then also when he was holding when both when Reed and Ben were holding Franklin later in those later scenes in the movie, close-ups of Franklin squirming and like,
Yeah.
you could tell it was a composite shot. It was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this weird and some of Franklin's movements obviously was CGI as well.
Yeah.
So it was that kind of stuck out to me, but that's really it. I mean, everything else was just absolutely gorgeous, especially
Yeah.
Galactus.
This is not
Galactus
any
from end
kind
to
of thing.
end. Good Lord. They just totally nailed it.
The art direction alone on that movie, it's hard enough doing a period film and making it look good. But then you want to do a stylized period film that is in a, it's like Hello Tomorrow. I mean, what we were talking about, where it's like it's not just the 60s, it's a sci-fi 60s, but according to the aesthetics of that time. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, like the big which we kept pointing out when they were in the trailers, like the huge TV Times Square kind of things, where it's not like what we have now, big jumbotron. It's that it's literally like huge cathode ray looking TV sets around everywhere, and it all worked. Everything worked together, and it looks real, not real, and they nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
The aesthetic alone would, when they show up in the Marvel Cinematic Universe in their bright blue and white costumes, they're already, and in their, very retro spaceship, everyone's just going to be like, who the hell are these people? So yeah, I just think that it looks amazing, and the actors are okay. No, they're all great.
They're
They're all
great. Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
And people are already clamoring for a director's cut, because of, they did cut for
They
time.
cut
There's a
a
lot of stuff
lot.
that got that we even saw in teasers that didn't end up in the film, which
Yeah.
does happen with every film. But it was like, oh, where's that?
Yeah.
Where's
And this
that?
gets into this was one of my other nitpicks, and I will move past it. And I've watched
You
some
can.
interviews with Matt Shackman recently,
Yeah.
and he explained like, yeah, we cut. So there's a lot of stuff that didn't make in the movie, but we're really happy with how this turned out. There was a lot of workshop decisions that were made along the way during production. Some scenes were scripted but not actually finished, like
Yeah.
the Red Ghost sequence that we had seen. Obviously, at one point they thought it was going to be in the movie because it was in the first teaser.
Well, they did film it, but it never got the effects finished
They never
because they
finished
made they cut it not because of more effects, more money. They cut it because of pacing, and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's too much. So
Mm-hmm.
the way they do it, which is what we thought they would, which is open it with like, here's all you need to know about the FF done as a documentary kind of thing, or it's like, we all know the story. I mean, literally that's him coming out going,
Yeah.
here's them getting in the rocket, here's them coming back, here's this and here's that, and here's them fighting various villains. And they're like, yeah, Red Ghost doesn't even carry through like Mole Man does, and even Mole Man is not dealt with too much,
No,
but enough to where it's like
just
he pays
enough.
off. He pays
Right.
off, and you go, "Oh, that's great, great take on Mole Man."
That was one of the things I was left wishing that I'd seen more of, is because we don't get much team action with them until the final.
True.
Well, there's two scenes, obviously, when they're escaping Galactus's ship, and then
Yeah.
then at the end.
Which is an
So I
amazing
decided
sequence.
it would have been really cool if we'd gotten an opening action scene where they were just thrown into the middle of them battling Red Ghost or Mole Man or something, and we get to see them working as a team.
Yeah,
learn their
absolutely.
see the personalities in action, instead of having them explained to us, by Ted Gilbert. And I like the whole montage of seeing all those villains, all these scenes that we've seen in the comics being brought to life was really
The
fun.
fact that again, it is the even more than the MCU. It's more James Gunn-ish, where they are full on just embracing it's all there. The whole bit, and they we don't see any of them, but the whole bit where they're on their balconies, like going, I've been watching all of these criminal organizations in town, and he's like, from over there, that's the Wizard. Over there, that's Diablo, and he's just listing, and you're like, and that's the Mad Thinker. I'm just like, they
Yeah,
exist in this
yeah,
universe, and the
yeah.
whole idea of like you're baby proofing the whole city is again brilliant. Is like, I'm
Hmm.
taking them all out at once. That's why the cops are doing that. They're taking them out, and therefore the city is safe for our baby. It's kind of a great Reed Richards beat. So I loved how they handled that. We're not going to see those characters more than likely, or see past adventures. We just know they all happened, and now we get to see them have fresh adventures on a new Earth with other heroes, which will
Hmm.
be very cool.
Yeah.
Oh man, Peter Parker meeting Reed,
Come on.
and meeting Johnny, because
Yeah.
they have that long-standing like frenemy kind of thing. I can't wait. If Tom Holland gets to meet our boy Johnny Storm, it's going to be awesome.
Oh yeah. Speaking of Johnny, that was my other third original nitpick that I listed when I replied to you. This was really the only part in the story that actually kind of annoyed me when I was
No.
watching it.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Was this thing? It's just such a classic trope in these types of movies
Oh, yes, I know. Yes.
where there's a loudmouth or younger character who's usually talking a lot. For once, actually has a really important piece of information, runs in and talks to everybody else, and everybody says, "Shut up, you." We've
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
important things to talk about. Come back later. Until eventually it comes down to the wire, and either what he was trying to warn about happens and they all have to deal with it, or the character has to go off and fix the problem themselves. It's very
Yes.
much like Empire Strikes Back, where C-3PO keeps trying to tell Han Solo the hyperdrive's damaged when they're trying to take
Yes.
off from Hoth. And they're like, "But sir," he just keeps telling him to shut up.
And FF does that to Johnny, including putting him in a gold suit, gold medal suit, and I was like, "What?" And he's literally doing a British accent. I was like, "What?" And then I got it. Oh, see, they're C3POing him.
So that seemed a little silly to me. It's like, guys, you've given them this really important project of translating these alien
Deciphering
languages.
the language of Zenla.
It's probably important, guys, to what's going on. Maybe you should listen to him. So
I
I
will
found that annoying.
say I didn't find that too annoying, because it is a trope to the point that it feels comfortable. I'm like, yeah, this is how they do these
It is,
stories.
it is, it is in character for sure.
But I also did think in this movie, the stuff they're dealing with is so huge, it would kind of seem like we are handling the important thing. Whatever you have to say isn't that important. It wasn't them going like, but we need to remodel the kitchen. Shut up, Johnny. Instead, it's literally like, how do we save the Earth from a galactic devourer? I can see them kind of, and he is the kid brother. It's like that's the thing,
Yeah.
is that,
Yeah.
but I do like that they gave him weight in the movie.
Hmm.
They actually did.
Yeah. I
Making Sue a
do.
scientist on her own is something that the comics have done over time as well. As I was saying to John, who we know these characters and how they started. All the decisions are smart, because the other movies also tried to up Sue's importance, and even Johnny's, even if he's kind of a playboy, they kind of try to do something with him. Because as much as I love Stanley and Jack Kirby, and their creation, um, you know, why would the smartest man on Earth take his best friend is the best pilot? That makes sense. We're going to do an experimental rocket launch. I want you, because you're an amazing pilot. You're going to do that, and I'm going to be with you. But why take your girlfriend, who at this point is just a lady who's obsessed with fashion and hairstyles, and her kid brother, who's got no. Why would you put them in a rocket?
Right. Yeah.
So making her a scientist and making her a literal co-leader, because she handles all the relations with governments and the press, because Reed is the absent-minded professor guy. But he still gets his moments. I mean, obviously they ask him a lot of the big questions like, are we safe? And him saying, I don't know. They're going to look to the smartest man on the earth for him to say that. So making her important and smart was great. And then also giving Johnny this other thing of like, yeah, he is her kid brother, but he's also brilliant in his own way. He still acts like, kind of the younger kid.
Sure.
What happened to the shot of him lying down on the couch in his spacesuit and lifting the visor that was in all the teaser trailers? And what
Yeah.
happened to the speech that she says about Ben was always a rock and that's in the trailers, didn't end up in the movie?
Yeah, they caught all that stuff. Yeah.
They cut a lot of stuff.
There
But
was
you know
there
what they
was
did give us? A zero G shooting through hyperspace birth scene.
that was amazing. I mean, that whole space sequence was not something I was expecting to go
The
that
whole
far.
visit to Galactus's ship and then the escape from, that was
Yeah.
chef's kiss, because it was tense on a character level, and it was tense on an action level. The beats were great, and Silver Surfer surfing through like galactic stuff, just like, oh man,
Where they go into hyperspace and they think, okay, cool, and then all of a sudden she's there. Because of
yeah,
course the
she's
Silver
there.
Surfer can travel at hyper,
Yes,
speeds.
absolutely. That wouldn't
So
make much sense that she wouldn't be able to, but it was great, and I think Miss Garner did a great job. If you're going to gender swap that character, even if we get Norrin Rad later, whoever ends up playing Norrin Rad will have a tough challenge ahead, because she has done a great job
she was
with
great.
not a whole lot of dialogue, but man, we
Yeah.
know what's coming. I mean, obviously the beats are there. They even used the beats, which some critics are like going, they just recycled story from Rise of the Silver Surfer. And all I said, they're going, recycled? Yeah, because that's the story.
So
Galactus threatens Earth, and eventually Silver Surfer turns against her
yeah.
boss.
Yeah.
Or it's like, hello, that's
Yeah.
canon. And they got their chance to do it, and they did it right. And it's actually Johnny getting through to her inner self and like going like, we just want the same thing that you wanted. We want to be able to save our world the same way. And how do you really feel about all those worlds? I will say it's kind of a diss. One thing in Norrin Rad, as the Herald pointed out in early adventures, is like, whenever possible, he would lead Galactus to an uninhabited world. Galactus does not have to eat inhabited worlds.
Right.
So it's just every now and then the only one that was available that met all the qualifications for eating would be, inhabited. So yeah, regardless, really great. And Ralph
Yeah.
Ineson's Galactus, no notes, man, no
Mm-mm.
notes.
None whatsoever. I really liked about Silver Surfer. That was that scene that's in the trailers where she says, I herald your beginning, I
Mm-hmm.
herald your end, I herald. And she goes, Galactus. She does this thing with her eyebrows as she's saying it, very
Yeah,
with concern and compassion to the people she's, proclaiming, announcing their
who had
death.
absolutely no
It's like,
idea what the fuck she's
yeah,
talking about, but yeah.
you guys are screwed.
Yeah, I am so
I'm
sorry
sorry
about
for
that.
you, but you're,
And the fact that when he does translate what she said to him, where it's like, oh yeah, it's like the soul of Shalla-Bal is not gone. It's just that it's probably been centuries, as far as we know of time, that she's been doing this job, and it just, no one was able to get through to her, and it takes the young guy. And making it a female also allows Johnny to have the whole running gag about, look, you and your space girlfriend, and him going, I'm not, I mean, yeah, she's attractive, but that's not the deal. It's kind of
Eventually turns
great.
into
He's
like,
like,
okay, fine.
okay, yeah, whatever, okay.
Yeah.
But he reaches her not through trying to flirt. He reaches her by literally just opening his heart. That's great. That's
Hmm.
great. That's a Johnny Storm thing. So again, characters are full on. And I thought the effects on Silver Surfer, I think they probably did keep tweaking them because so many people were not ecstatic about what they saw in the trailers, which looked fine to me, but I could tell that they kept working on her. And she's not chrome reflective, but she looks silver. It's like, oh, because in
Yeah.
Rise of the Silver Surfer, it was literally like chrome
Hmm.
and very shiny. Here, she's just coated in a silver coat.
In this interview with Matt Shackman I saw just the other day, or I think yesterday, the interviewer was asking him about possible influences that he thought he'd noticed from other science fiction films, particularly Interstellar, of course, because Interstellar has that big black hole scene. And they did make the black
2001,
hole.
they kind of gave us the space baby.
Yeah, well, that's what Matt Shackman added to that. It's like, oh yeah, definitely Interstellar, but really in a big way, it was 2001. And in fact,
Yeah.
the aesthetic that they kept citing to themselves as they were making the movie, what they were going for was Kubrick meets Jack Kirby.
Yeah.
With the whole design aesthetic and everything, and you can see it throughout the film.
Yeah, everything that's Earth tech based, as in what Reed's created, including the insides of the spaceship and everything, it is ultra clean, ultra bright, which is something that Kubrick, that was his takeaway, is like he already had an idea, or we all had an idea of what spaceships would look like, but he wanted to go kind of hard science with. There will also probably be people that aesthetically design these things, because he turns into like it's an airplane. It's got stewardesses, that kind of stuff. Sorry,
Yeah.
flight attendants. So it's like it would look like, a very nice 1960s lounge. It just happens to be in 0G. So yeah, all that stuff was like, yeah, that totally rocks. And
Even the
in
pregnancy
Galactus's
test.
ship, yeah, Galactus's ship is very dark and very, Geiger alien thing, as in all the mechanics, everything's black coated or whatever. But in the shapes, I was saying Kirby, there's a lot of like ridiculous geometric configurations. I'm going like, yeah, that's totally a nod to Kirby. It's not as colorful as Kirby would have had in his comics, because they always pop. But I'm sitting there going, looking at the shapes, that is not, anything we've seen. That is very much a Jack design. And I loved the little, they mentioned the comic book and the cartoon, which means they are in a universe just like in the comics, where Marvel exists and is doing comics based on the FF as they're alive. So that scene of a Stan and Jack at the window, like going, "Are you getting this?" Like they're looking outside, and you see like a Jack Kirby page on the art table. I was just like, "Yay!" And then they asked me to leave the theater. And the button scene with the cartoon. Oh, man.
It was very nice.
Yeah. It was essentially the opening of the 80s Fantastic Four cartoon, or the 70s Fantastic Four cartoon. But they were able to put Human Torch into it, and also make Reed look like, Pedro Pascal.
Right.
But I was like, holy crap, that's exactly it. That was the one where they didn't have Human Torch, but had Herbie. Herbie worked in this movie. I liked it.
Herbie was, he was cute. Yeah, he wasn't too obnoxiously cute.
I like that he takes out the cassette for like the housekeeping babysitting module gets taken out, like a tape, and then put in like combat protection. Yeah, space.
I thought that was cool. It's like, what is the point of the cassette deck in his face? And I was like, it actually has a purpose. Yeah, that's where they load his programs or whatever, or his different modes or something. It was cool.
And I love that there's that whole build up. This was just, cleverly good story construction. Is Reed comes up with a plan. Yeah, it's crazy, but we can do it. And the Earth works together to make all those bridges, because he's going to. I did think it took him a long time to get to that place, because literally when they brought up the whole thing about levers and I would move heaven and earth, I was like going, yeah, we know where this is going. Reed finally was like going, holy shit, that's it. We'll move the earth. But what I love is we're all like going, that's a plan. It's going to work. And then that it gets shot down was one of the things where you're going, oh, as an audience member, you're just like going, what? Oh,
yeah,
things just got more tense.
This was one thought I had too. It's like, I thought it's not a big deal, but when Galactus arrives in the solar system, it takes him a long time to get there.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
Galactus is passing Jupiter, and they're still building the things frantically, and it's still his arrival's still months away. And I'm like, why is Galactus so slow?
He's outside of Mars.
Galactus is just like doo doo doo.
Well, I think everything's relative. As his hunger is relative. It's not like get me to a restaurant now, but it's like I
Right.
hunger. I need a planet. And apparently, he's just like I got all the time in the world.
Yeah.
They've been warned. I'm giving him a chance to leave the planet in ships, and maybe some of the worlds he has attacked, the Herald's warning, maybe some of the races were able to leave. You know, maybe they
Yeah.
were able to actually, because they were space worthy. And he was like, I'm going to eat your planet. You can go wherever you want, but I'm coming for the world.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was really happy too, though, because there's a lot of speculation. We had even talked about this theory that the Fantastic Four actually lose, you know, at the end of this movie, that they have to, like, they flee their universe and wind up in the 616. And I was like, I didn't really like the idea of their Earth, you know, being destroyed.
No, that would be a real downer.
That would be really sad. So I'm glad it's still there, although we don't know what's going to happen in Secret Wars. What they're going to do with all that.
And if they're coming to the MCU proper, does that mean it's like, you know, we never go back? And at that point, it's like we got a new planet that doesn't know us.
But maybe is everything going to be merged into this new amalgam MCU?
Well,
maybe
it's possible. The reset button they keep talking about after Secret Wars.
Because I think it would be awesome if New York looks like it just stays the way it looks.
I think it would be a combo. I don't think they would totally, because one thing that did work about the MCU, especially right off the bat with Iron Man, is it felt like, oh, that really is our world. Only, now there's a guy in an iron suit and they're now superheroes. So if they go too fantastical, then maybe we go, oh, I don't even know these people. But they are talking about the possibility of new Tony Stark, new Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
Not literally like origin films, but just like we take it back to a place where we get to start over, that with Fantastic Four, with the X-Men in the same world. And I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm.
I would eat that up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So yeah, I don't know where they're going. I will say that I just got a notice that my Amazon delivery arrived, which means Thunderbolts is here.
Oh,
I pre-ordered. Cool. Yeah, so it's I can't wait to rewatch it. Not because of the teaser at the end. I loved Thunderbolts. Really great. So anyway, I don't know what the take is, but that first button scene, which thank God, and guys, again, maybe you're thinking I don't care about spoilers. Don't listen to this part if you haven't seen the movie, because that button scene is, again, chef's kiss. If you haven't seen it, it hits. It hits. So another warning. But the first,
that's one of those things. Yeah, sorry, I was going to add real quickly. I think I saw something somewhere that the Russo brothers directed that scene.
Yeah, they did.
Which is probably because it actually is that scene might actually be in Avengers Doomsday.
Oh, that's possible. But it is RDJ.
Yeah.
That's just amazing. So yes, the movie ends, they win by shoving Galactus. Technically, Silver Surfer sacrificing herself and betraying her master. They go into a wormhole, black hole thing into another dimension. Could be the whole plot is they realize that they've sent Galactus into the MCU universe and they feel guilty and they have to, like, we've got to save that Earth too.
I like that idea too.
Maybe. Yeah. But regardless, so they win. And the Earth's like, yay, Fantastic Four, you're the best. Cuts to 4 years later. Franklin's now a precocious little tyke who reads way above their level. But Sue's like, I really still wanted them to read, Eric Carle books about the very hungry butterfly or whatever, caterpillar. And she comes back into the room in the Baxter building, and there is someone sitting, chatting, or just reaching out to Franklin, and Franklin's reaching up, and it is Dr. Doom from behind. Yes, with his mask off, he's holding his mask. So Franklin's like reaching towards the messed or the messed up face of Victor Von Doom. I can only assume it's a baby abduction, because if there's one thing Victor Von Doom would be aware of is like, oh, I loved every shot of the UN where Latveria has refused to show up. But yeah, so Victor Von Doom is like, oh, this kid is literally a cosmic god, and even Galactus was like, oh boy, I
Yeah.
need that power for myself.
Yeah.
So I think he's abducting Franklin, and I guess that's where we go from. Oh,
Some people have
it's good.
speculated too that Franklin is healing Doom's face in
Well,
that
what would
scene,
the point be? What would the
so he
point be
doesn't have to
there?
work, so that they can show RDJ's face throughout the damn
I
movies.
gotta say that is a sticking point with and John has valid points. His theory. My theory is this. It's not even a theory. It's a want. My want is this. I want this to be Victor Von Doom. I want this
Yes.
to be a completely different character that isn't beholden to Tony Stark. So RDJ, we know, great actor. Let's let him be an Eastern European dictator, like with an obsession with the occult and super science. I want all that. I think it lessens the character who's an icon who's never been done correctly in any version except for the Roger Corman version,
Mm.
weirdly enough. He's never been done properly. Um, and since he wears a mask, we'll know it's RDJ, but we don't need the mask to come off. We don't need the Tony Stark corollary. And then John's like, no. And he's like, look, it's inescapably going to be a Tony Stark variant. And he goes, why else would they cast RDJ? And I said, because they've worked with him and they know how good he is and that he can play other characters. And I don't want a quippy Doom, for God's sake. And John's like, and his point is valid. John, hear me now. Your point is valid. His point being, you don't spend that much money and get that actor and hide his face. You just
Yeah.
don't. Whether it's only a quick shot, when he arrives on the other Earth and he takes the mask off and everyone goes, oh my God, Tony Stark? He goes, that's what's going to happen. And whether he's actually Tony Stark or a Tony Stark variant, that's the way they're going to go. So he is like, I know for a fact. And I am like, I don't know for a fact, but here's what I want and wish. And we'll see how it plays out. But that was my concern the very second they announced him as Doom
Yeah,
was,
everybody was. Yeah, like,
yeah,
oh,
it's like,
come
is he
on.
not going to be the character from the comics? Making him just another version of Tony Stark lessens Victor Von Doom. It just
Mm-hmm.
does.
Yeah.
No matter how well written it is, it'll be like, what a shame. Not to the same extent with Shalla-Bal being Silver Surfer, because she's an existing character and that makes sense. And, and she has been Silver Surfer in the comics, for a bit. So I'm not that thrown. But man, if they go
Yeah.
that route, I'll be very angry. Still, that button hit. Did you lose it? I actually made a noise in the theater.
I was surprised. Yeah, no, I
Oh
didn't
yeah,
really
you
lose
were
it.
you were
I
you
was
were
in
having a bad
I
day.
was in a foul mood. Yeah.
Yeah. Was it because
No,
you
it
had the
was my
movie
fault.
theater nachos and they were really bad? And he was like, God damn, how much did I
Yeah,
spend for these?
didn't help.
$11 for bad movie theater nachos?
So one thing I'll say, just in summary of this thing,
Please
it's
summarize. I'm good.
as much as I kind of wish there was more in this movie, more of just everything, more of the characters. It's a very it's an impressively economical film
Mm-hmm.
that they really do kind of keep the slate clear so they can focus on their four principal characters.
Agreed.
And there really aren't any supporting characters, really. There's their assistant we see her a couple of times, and
Yeah,
that's
and I liked
basically
her a
it.
lot,
And
and
Mole Man
and she's from
and
Ted
Natasha Lyonne's
Lasso.
character.
Yeah, and Natasha
Yeah.
Lyonne's character, who is not from the comics, and of course we had speculated she'll be Alicia Masters, but no. Oh, Puppet Master is mentioned though, and it's great. Which maybe that's their way of, because she won't be following them to the MCU, I would assume.
Right.
It's just that they wanted to show him making a personal connection with somebody when it looks like the world's going to end. And I love the whole thing of, yeah, they don't make a big deal about it, but
Hmm.
he shows up at the temple because Ben Grimm is Jewish,
Yeah.
and it's great. She's like, "Oh, you know, you come to pray," and then he's like, "Actually, no, I came to see
Same
you."
see you. Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah, it was nice, and I kind of think that that was probably a subplot that had more to it eventually. You know, originally there probably were more scenes of dialogue between the two of them, but they left just enough. You
yeah.
know.
And I like the fact that they've entered the story similar to Superman with this world already in progress, which means you don't have to have it in every Fantastic Four film, but we do get a little bit of the whole Reed guilt thing. Like, if it
Hmm.
weren't for me, our lives
Hmm.
wouldn't be like this, and the guilt over, you know, what happened to Ben. Ben is not shown in this movie being overly self-pitying, which is a thing. But instead he's accepted it, and the public is not freaked by him at all. At this point, he's just Ben. I mean, they do call him Thing, like when they're giving their names, Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Woman. But you know, the neighborhood, the grocery store, no one's worried or like, the kids love him. So they've all accepted him. It's like, yeah, it's no longer making fun of the ugly rock guy. And I love that. They kind of like go, no, he's been embraced by the entire world. They all love this guy.
Yeah.
He never calls himself an ever loving blue eyed thing though. And again,
Yeah.
that's when I started kicking and screaming and
You know what
going,
I think?
with my Megan 2.0 cup. Say the words, but they did it. They did its clobbering time, so we did get that
Yeah.
running gag, which was great.
I thought it would have been kind of cool. I thought for sure for a moment when I was watching that scene that was in the trailer of him lifting up the Volkswagen Beetle
Mm-hmm.
for the kids, I thought somebody was going to run out of a shop going, oh, because that's my car.
I know.
Oh, sorry. It would have been
Yeah,
kind of nice.
it was like, oh, God, I hope he doesn't crumple it up or throw it because that
Yeah,
is someone's
right.
vehicle. It's like, and he does just put it back down. I'm like, oh, okay, good,
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
And Vanessa Kirby, great.
Good. Yeah, she's
Pedro
fantastic.
Pascal, strangely good. Who saw that guy as being good? The people that are all over him because he's in everything, that's the backlash. Is they're like, we're getting a little tired of Pedro. I'm like, if he delivers, and I admit he's not what I imagined visually as Reed Richards, but he delivers the character. If a guy can act and everybody wants him, put him in the movies as long as the movies are good, because he'll end up making something that everyone's going to go, ooh. But right now, he's
Mhm.
on a very strong course, and
Yeah.
I like, okay, bring it, Reed.
The only other actor who was announced when they were working through the casting process for the film, Adam Driver, was mentioned early on. I thought,
Yeah,
oh, well, that could be good. It would be
that
kind of
could be
nice to
good.
kind of move him away from Kylo Ren. You know, let him be this other iconic character. I think he would have been good.
And
But now, having
actually,
seen this, it's really hard for me to
keeping
imagine anybody
Krasinski.
but Pedro in this film.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there was that too. I don't think this would have worked with him. I don't think the
I
chemistry would have been
can't.
the
I don't.
same.
I just don't know.
At
But
least
I
with
do
this
think
cast.
they clearly worked hard on their chemistry. They felt like a family. That's the big important thing. And did they hit that, you know, button? Did they hit the nail on the head a little much with the whole family theme? Sort of, but it still worked. And they sold it so well. And
Yeah.
then of course the big theme where she walks out, and I do like that the public's like, you guys are selfish. It's like one life for the life of the entire planet. And then
Yeah.
her going like, don't you get it? We are your family. Everyone on earth, we are one
Hmm.
family, and that's who we're trying to protect. So, you know, it's not our necessarily choosing our child over everybody else. It's you, we're all in the same family. That worked very
Hmm.
well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was very much like a, ooh, are they going to do that? Are they going to,
Yeah.
and they do.
I mean, even there's even that one scene where Reed is trying to explain his plan, and even Sue thinks he's saying maybe we should at least consider it. It's like no,
Yeah.
let me let me
I
explain my
love the whole
idea.
bit where he follows her, goes, he goes, yeah, I think that way, but you know, that's the way I work,
It's
is
the
that
way
I
my
think
mind
of
works.
everything. I have to think of every terrible possibility in order to find solutions. And I can't not do that. And then she goes, I do know that. And I wish for your sake you weren't like that, because you think horrible things, but it is the way you put stuff together. And it's their relationship. Mm, solid as a rock, the way the old song went.
I really like too that this is by far the most powerful Sue Storm we've seen on screen so far, and they really leaned into how powerful she really is. And it
Yeah.
was awesome.
And she uses her powers to death. She doesn't invisible as much in this movie as you might expect. They really went force fieldy as the primary thing. But I do love the bit where she just pops up on bed. She's been sitting next to Ben the whole time. It's like, you got to stop doing that. I can't.
She does it to Johnny later, I think, too, right?
Yeah, and I love the fact of her being able to spread invisibility like her force field. So like they turned the whole Fantastic Car invisible.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's great.
And her belly when they're running the tests on Franklin when he's still in the
what?
womb.
I kind of thought that was going to happen. I did actually think that in advance. It's like, oh, she could probably just show her insides, which is gross. But yeah, she could totally do that. So yeah, she's awesome. And again, Vanessa Kirby, who I've always liked. I had doubts just because I've never seen her play a Sue Storm like character. I've seen her play a lot of femme fatales and that kind of stuff, and Mission Impossible and all kinds of other things. But I was like, oh no, and plus her American accent, great. And then we have Johnny, great Johnny, as we mentioned, different but still the same. And the little bits with him and Ben, it's like you have to have that back and forth, them pranking each other, him pulling out the little human torch action figure from the cereal box is like, I'm a human torch. Totally crushing it to pieces. All that was great. So I got just happiness all around that movie. I had a good day that day, and I probably enjoyed it. And no Willie Lumpkin, but I'll get through. There was no Willie Lumpkin anywhere in it. I wanted an old man delivering mail to the Baxter Building. I didn't get it, or the Watcher, and I nearly left the theater. But then I realized I was not nearly done with my Mountain Dew, so I stayed, and I'm glad I did.
There was one of the shots from the trailer that I did kind of miss. Was I think a scene that must have been cut where they run outside the Ted Gilbert show theater and Johnny does this thing to flame on and fly off, which wasn't, as we saw later, that wasn't when Silver Surfer was showing up. There must have been something else going on. That might have been the cut scene with Red Ghost.
Maybe
they're running off, because they're at the Ted Gilbert show twice. And I think the first time they get called off in the middle of their interview, it sort of looked like from the trailer. And the second time they get caught off before the curtains even open.
There's a lot of stuff from the teasers and the trailers that ended up getting cut, which, I mean, a director's cut is not necessary because I think it's really a tight movie and they really shaved off, I think, stuff that we could live without. But I wouldn't mind a combo disc that was like, like the deleted scenes, because we didn't even get the original teaser trailer. Apparently part of the documentary is that at home with them thing where he's like going, here's the dinner table. We have dinner every night at 7 on the dot. That's in like the trailers, not in the movie. And so like, oh, they do make a point of saying like, hey, look at the clock. It's 7. We always have dinner at 7. Where are they? And that's the you're late thing. So like, oh, we didn't get the other thing. That just means we watched those teasers way too many times that we're like going, that's missing, and that's missing, and that's missing. But I do love the whole, the physicality of flaming on is
so great. It's just it's like one of those things we talked about before. It's like, I didn't know that's what he did, but it just works. It just,
and the chase after Silver Surfer. One thing that I did like was the sort of, I mean, they don't need Reed going, you do this, but I like that they have agency. Like at no point, Johnny just takes off after her. I mean, and it's not them going like, follow her, see where she goes. He just is like, no, I'm doing this up to the, edges of the stratosphere where he's running out of oxygen. The whole thing, that scene is so awesome.
He does when they first see that she's arriving. Reed does go, Johnny, go for it.
Yeah, that's true.
He hits heads out ahead of them. I like.
You're
that
the
too.
only guy who can fly amongst us.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, and then I could have. That was a scene I think I cut down too because it happened so quickly. Where they say, well, something's coming, and they kind of the way they find, because we were asking when we watched the trailers, like, how do they know that she was going to Times Square? Is that they follow her there basically?
Yes.
But so that's how that happened. But it happened very quickly.
I like that Shalla-Bal takes a real quick read of the planet and goes, "That is a center.
I'm going to go to Times Square." Yes.
Yeah. Why not?
So what was the other asteroids and stuff that were arriving with her? What did you make of that?
I think that is just a callback to the comic, which again I got wrong. It's not
which was
Silver Surfer's creation. It was the Watcher. Warning Earth. But I guess they're not real comets. I think it is like a show, and I think it is sort of like, boom, this is how I let you Earthlings know that one human-sized alien showed up. So, if she had just flown and hung above Times Square, 28 people would have been gaping, and then no one would have had cameras out. And she'd go, "I herald your beginning, and I herald your end. And could you let the other people know? Would you? Because Galactus is coming. You with the mustache. Do you know anyone in media? This really should get out to the whole planet." So I think it is like almost like a special effect. So no comets hit anything.
There's a cut scene where she's just waiting, just standing there hovering and waiting for the Fast Nine to show up.
I am going to say something. Just I need more. Let me know when the camera trucks are here. It's great. She was great. There's not again, those little nitpicks that you have are valid, but I don't think they affect the movie. No. And whenever Reed did stretch, I was like, yay! No mention of unstable molecules. Not a single one.
I thought about that later.
This is a movie where they're not bothering to tell you how he can flame on and not burn his clothes.
He does say something about the suit that he made him. I don't know if he mentions the word unstable molecules, but he explains like, look, the suit's only going to last so long before it falls apart if you flame on.
Yeah, I thought that was just, he keeps updating their outfits. I don't know if that's like on a molecular level. I assume that basically Shackman's like, do I take the time to explain that or just go? And he goes,
they don't really need to. Yeah, I mean, they do at least hint that no, this is Reed's technology that makes it possible. So,
and even the unstable molecules are starting to tear up, man. When he was being stretched like a rubber band, I really thought he was going to let him go. I mean, I really thought he was going to like fire him, and he
like
wasn't.
A rubber band. Yeah,
and that's okay. Sorry.
Yeah,
but it looked painful. Just like Sue, as you said, being so powerful and pushing Galactus with her, and Galactus is shocked as fuck. He's like, "What?"
He's like, "What the hell?"
With the force field, and then her dying, and I was like, "Okay, the baby brings her back." I was like,
Franklin,
"It's gonna happen."
Yeah, and that was, I mean, as far as showing,
but they did ring the emotion. Yeah,
that was a good way to showcase. Okay, here's what he does. It's not this world-changing thing, but it is for them. So
he can
cool.
alter reality, create universes. He's incredibly powerful. But the idea that he'll be my replacement. Galactus is shown as being a monster villain. At the same time, he's like going, I just want all this to end. It's like, I don't want to, I'm constantly hungry. And right now, Brendan Jones, I'm a little peckish. It's lunchtime. I haven't had lunch yet. I feel Galactus's pain.
I was going to ask you if there's one line, and again, the dialogue throughout this film is great for the most part. There's not, doesn't have like Superman had some expository problems throughout the dialogue.
Yeah, it did.
This one doesn't really, and as much. The only thing was my complaint about Johnny being shut up, Johnny. We don't care. What do you have to say? But with the line that I really love from Galactus is when he figures out that they're trying to trick him and that Franklin really isn't where he was originally, and he sees him across the city in the Baxter Building. And he goes, "Clever bugs," and he turns and walks off.
Clever bugs.
That was so great. I was going to ask you, is that like a Galactus-esque line from his head? Is that
No,
something that he's ever said? Called
not that I know of. It's a
referred to
great
humans as
line.
bugs.
I think the in the comics, especially in the early appearance, the first appearance, what's great about Galactus is he rarely speaks
Mm.
because he doesn't need to. He's got the
Mhm.
thing that actually makes him work on a very visceral level in a lot of the comics is he's so far removed, other than the fact that these tiny humans, a group of 4 of them, have thwarted him and forced him away from their planet. He does respect, and he has spoken. He's talked to the Watcher, he's talked to the Fantastic Four, but generally speaking, he doesn't speak because the creatures that are on these planets he doesn't give a shit about. I mean,
Mm.
literally, they are bugs to him. That I think in the movie worked simply because, and they have a dialogue scene because he needs to explain who he is, why he is, and hey, nothing personal. I don't give a shit about your lives. I just need to eat your planet. And I warn you, I mean, good luck if you can't get off your world. Sorry about that. But that worked. And him calling them bugs is just a great, like,
Mm.
man, we don't matter to Galactus at all.
I was actually surprised that he gave as much of his backstory to them as he
Yeah.
did in that scene. It's like, I was once like you, and that
Yeah.
whole scene. I was like, oh, this is so cool. I
Uh,
wasn't expecting to do that at all.
Also, the rethinking of how he does what he does, like in the comics, he shows up on, and they made him much bigger in the movie than he is in the comics. In the first appearance, he
Right.
stands on top of 2 skyscrapers, his legs
Yeah.
on either one. Here, he would not be able to do that. He's literally knocking skyscrapers over. I'm like, God
Mhm.
damn, he's much bigger in the movie. Thank God he's not a cloud.
Yeah.
Anyway, but in the comics, he pulls down equipment from his ship and builds the earth eating stuff. So there's even more time because he's just working like, oh, this goes into this goes into this. And meanwhile, what are we going to do? And they end up talking to the Watcher. He's like, get that ultimate nullifier thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking awesome. But, so yeah, that's very different here. The idea that he is connected to his ship, and that's where the energy gets stored, which is why they're like going, if we disconnect him, if we lure him here and are able to, he won't be able to, he's not as strong and all that stuff. He won't have, because he uses his ship as a borer, and that's why it has all like the whirling teeth things on the inside of it. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. It's like a piece of drilling equipment.
Mhm.
So yeah, him unplugging was pretty cool. That's not in the comics. And then yeah, and I'm just like going, well, just keep knocking him back. I love the fact that he's like he figures it out too. The way they keep thwarting the plans was smart. It wasn't like that was easy. He almost steps into the field of that and he goes, no, this is a trap.
Yeah.
Literally, it's
Yeah.
a triangle of equipment, and yeah, it's a total trap. And then he sees, oh, that's not the baby. There's the baby over there.
Yeah.
Nah, he's over there. And it was just, it was good. It's
It
good.
was really good. Yeah.
I have a feeling I'll buy it on Blu-ray.
I have a feeling you're going to do that too.
I have a feeling in a few years I'm going to be talking to a guy on eBay going, come on, man, $25 for that Galactus popcorn bucket. I spent 80. Yeah, but it's been a few years, man. $20. Give me that popcorn bucket. But I'm not going to spend the $90 to get the popcorn bucket.
Oh,
Just not going to.
God. Yeah.
All right. So anyway, go watch Fantastic Four. It's fantastic. Times 4.
Yeah, we said it. I've
Jack,
seen interviews
I'm
of people. It's like
exhausted by that.
I'm not going to say fantastic. I refuse to say that word in relation to the film, even though it was fantastic. I'm not going to say it.
I've watched reviewers really bend themselves into pretzels trying to either work Fantastic in or like a variation because they're being very ironic. And I'm like,
Right.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, because it is too easy.
Mm-hmm.
I bet it was very easy for the previous ones where they can slam it and it was all just like, not so fantastic.
Yeah. Or
What's
fan
the
four stick.
opposite of fantastic? This thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
also liked that all the actors, the original 4 actors from the Roger Corman movie, have bit parts in it.
I heard about that later. I didn't. Obviously, I didn't catch that. It was during the Ted Gilbert sequence, isn't it?
No, they're all over. There's
Oh, they are?
the Johnny and the Ben are a couple of street workers that are involved in a different scene.
Oh, okay.
Construction workers, and I think the Reed guy is I don't know. They're in various places, so they're not all together standing there going, "Look."
Yeah.
But it was just neat. I just like when they do stuff like that. It's like, oh, cool.
One
I'm
thought
glad.
I had too. I don't know if this was probably not intentional, but when they go to that planet to catch up with Galactus, and they right as he's eating the planet, and then his ship emerges from the rubble of the planet, and it's coming towards them in this big stretchy thing. It was almost like a reverse of the Galactus cloud from Rise of Silver Surfer, like going in the opposite direction. I don't know if that was a deliberate callback, because why would you want to call back to that movie?
You wouldn't.
But I immediately thought that when I saw that shot. I was like, is that like the cloud? Oh no, that's a ship. Okay.
The very fact they didn't have Sue try to go invisible and then she's just in her underwear. I was like, you guys, you're doing it right.
Yeah.
I don't blame anyone involved in those other Fantastic Four movies, because they did their best, but they were just off. They didn't do them justice. This movie does. So there you go. I mean, Jessica Alba was a terrible casting choice, but lovely lady. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's mostly the writing. Mostly the writing that hurts those
Mostly
movies.
the writing, and tonally, I think they were just off.
Yeah.
They were trying to go with kind of like a lighthearted comic book world, but not successfully. Not to the extent that this basically goes, oh no, these are the 60s comics, only writ large, and with some serious stakes in it, where you go, damn, I don't know how that was what this movie impressed me with, is that every time they would set something up, you're like, that's how it gets solved. Then it's, thwarted. And I loved I have no idea what's going to happen next. I'm worried for this Earth. Plus, we had already had our theories about maybe they don't win, and maybe the Earth is destroyed. So we don't even know how they're going to end up in the MCU, but they will. And I'm really looking forward to it. And I love Pedro Pascal, like going, dude, I wish I could tell you how awesome Robert Downey Jr. is in Doomsday right now. He goes, I really want to talk about it. I just can't, because they're already doing their scenes together. I'm like, oh, Reed and Doom.
Yes.
By the way, when that movie comes out, should we change the name of this podcast to Reed and Doom?
No.
I'll be Reed. You can be Doom. So what do we talk about next week? Because we just exhausted the two biggest movies of the year.
I'm sure we'll think of something.
We will. That's a great way to end the podcast. Join us next week when we'll think of something. Finally, we'll do our part 2 of Charles Nelson Riley. Anyway.
Yes.
Thanks for watching, guys. Let us know what you thought of the Fantastic Four. I mean, it's fine if you hated it, but tell us why. Or you just have nitpicks like Chad, or maybe your day was terrible. Maybe you spent $18 on movie theater nachos and they were terrible. Let us know. And go to the theaters. I mean, you can still, it's still an iffy proposition. People have forgotten how to watch movies together. Man, there were phones alight in my theater, and there were people talking to themselves during the movie. Anyway, let us know what you thought. Until then, Chad's going to work on his stretching, and I will continue gluing orange rocks to my body. All right, bye, everybody.
Bye.